Like, it's really, really hard work, and it's not easy. Like, even as you're going on in life, like, you're going to run into something and you didn't know it was going to be an issue. But you've got to do it for at least yourself.
Welcome to the latest episode of It's Not Human Sexuality. I'm Dr. Betsy Cairo, or Dr. B.
And I'm Mandy Johnson. With us today is a young woman who is a former student of both me and Dr. Cairo.
My mom knows and isn't doing anything like, as any other adult in my life going to do anything about it. I've learned, like, you always got to, you got to take care of yourself. Like, sometimes there's no one else that will take care of you. Luckily, there's quite a few, really nice, people out there in the world.
I met Jessica Remmele in her freshman year and had her in at least one class every year of her high school career. The last class she took as a senior was one of the pilot classes that Betsy and I co-taught called Reproductive Development. This was our second pilot of a semester-long class for high school students focused entirely on reproductive health, and the first class to use Dr. B's high school textbook. Jessica is also a sexual abuse survivor, and in her sophomore year of high school, she was challenged to share her story with others and face her abuser in court to put him in jail. Jessica is here to share her story and how she was able to come out the other side.
Welcome, Jessica. It's so good to have you here tonight, and I'm so excited to see you. It's been since 2014, and look at how much you've grown, and we're excited to see what's happened since then and monitor and follow along with your story.
All right. I'm ready. I know I'm excited too.
Are you ready? Cool. Good. Yeah, this is big.
It is.
And we're really honored
Yes.
to have you here.
So, if you don't mind, just first kind of telling us and your audience a little bit about what you've been doing since you graduated high school. It's been 7 years, 2014. So
Wow.
what have you been doing with your life since then?
I went to college. I finished college. I went to Abusive Coffee. Miss Laura actually recommended it to me, and so that's where I went. And so I did that, graduated from there. It's like a 10-month program, and you just cook every day for 6 hours. It was wonderful because I didn't want to go to a university and take math and science classes that I didn't need, and it was a lot cheaper. So
Is it a culinary degree?
Yeah, I have a culinary degree. Yeah, so I did that, worked at a grocery store for 5 years, which I shouldn't have spent 5 years there, but it's okay. And now I'm kind of just working at Wing Shack and trying to remodel my house that me and my sister live in and make it our own. So nothing
nice.
Super crazy exciting, but
Just the everyday living life, but that's, yeah.
I did
All
meet
right.
my half brother right after high school, so that was cool. I finally got to meet him.
That is cool. Or do you guys talk now, or do you stay in touch?
Yeah, we talk, and I go out and see him once a year because he lives in Vegas. So I try to go out and see him once a year. So this year he's kind of trying to come out here because he's never been to Colorado.
Oh, that'll be fun. It's a nice place to visit. I mean, I hope that he doesn't like it too much because there's so many people here, but it is a nice place to visit.
It's a wonderful place to visit and a great place to live. So it's okay. Yeah, everybody knows it's a secret. Okay, got it. Yeah.
So, if you're willing, and as much as you're willing, can you share your story with our listeners and us? It's been a long time since I've heard this story.
Yeah, just from the beginning, really.
Yeah.
The gist of it is I was sexually abused for 10 years by my mom's ex-husband from the age of 4 to about the age of 14. And my mom did know about it the majority of the time. I want to say she first found out when I was about 7 years old. And so, yeah, she knew about it the whole time, witnessed it. Unfortunately, she never did anything about it. And I made a promise to myself that I would report my abuse before I graduated high school. That was always a promise I made to myself. And my cousin, which was actually his niece, is a social worker for the military. And I just told her one day. I just kind of came out and I told her. And then she reported it, but she lived in Kansas. So it took like maybe like, I don't know, I want to say maybe a day or two, like to get like, here for the police to like come to my house and everything. And yeah, so it was kind of weird because, talking to Miss Sam, I don't know if you remember her, Miss Mestis. Also, you'll always be Miss Mestis to me. And
To a lot of people.
I don't know how to call you Miss Johnson.
That's okay.
And yeah, so like after talking to her, like the day my stepsister picked me up early from school was the day that like the social worker and the police like showed up to my house and everything. They were supposed to like come to me at school, but like just like a weird coincidence that happened to be the day my older sister picked me up early from school. So they came to my house, and he wasn't there at work at the time. So he was at work at the time. So they took me and my mom and my little sister and my older sister to the police station, and we, that's when they started the questioning. And they were kind of waiting for him like at our house to like for him to show up so they could arrest him and bring him in. And the after fact is like we had to, like, we couldn't stay at our house, like we had to like go stay at my grandpa's house for a few days. I don't remember like the details why like he wasn't like put in jail like immediately. Like I know he was bailed out at one point, so that might have been it. I thought he was bailed out later, but like I feel like that's the only thing that makes sense. So yeah, he was bailed out. We were staying with my grandpa for a while and like staying with some family friends, and until like he was like until he found like another living situation. And because he wasn't in jail until like the actual court date, and then that Miss Mestis came with me too, and then so that's when he was like officially arrested and he was put into jail for, his sentence was like 6 years to life. With probation, I was like 20 years to life probation afterwards. And then he tried to get out on early release at one point, and I actually got the opportunity to like write a letter and show up to the court date and present that letter, and I did, and it actually kept him in jail like for an additional year. So he spent 7 years in jail.
So that means he's out now, just recent. Well, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, he got out.
Would have been a couple years ago though, because that was sophomore year when we went to court, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
2012.
Yeah, 2012, 2013.
So 2019 is when he.
Yeah, that sounds right. Like before the pandemic.
Yeah. So a couple follow-up questions when I hear that story is, how did your mom feel when you turned him in, being as she knew about it but wasn't doing anything herself? Was that a source of contention at all, or was it she was relieved that it got dealt with and she didn't have to, or how was that? How did that go down for her and you guys?
She actually like got in trouble for like child endangerment. So she kind of, she didn't spend any jail time or anything, but she like, it's on her record now, child endangerment. Like she'll never be able to work like in a school or anything like that. So, but yeah, it was kind of weird. I guess she felt relief that she didn't have to do it. She never even really apologized that like she never did anything. Like unfortunately, like we got really big fights over the years, like, and unfortunately, like she blames me. She was like, she has told me she said it was, it was my fault. I should have known it was wrong. And I told her, I was like, Mom, I was a baby. Like I kind of figured out it was wrong when starting school, and they talk about good touches and bad touches and things like that. But I never did anything because I was terrified. And and she should have been as a parent, but she wasn't. And to this day, I don't know. She doesn't. Yeah, we just kind of avoid the topic because it just brings up a fight with us.
Yeah.
So you do have a relationship with her?
Somewhat. Yeah.
Well, can I just go ahead and emphatically state that it was not your fault?
Yeah.
It was never your
Ditto.
fault. It was
Oh, yeah.
never your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I know
Thanks.
you know
Yeah,
that
luckily,
now, but it was never your fault.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Many years of therapy. Many.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Did he, can I ask another question? Did he threaten you? Did he say, if you tell, this is what's going to happen? I mean, we hear a lot of textbook talk like that this is often the manipulated piece of it, putting pressure on you to feel responsible for your other family members.
Yeah. So like, I actually like remember this very like specifically. He told me not to tell anyone. Like, and it was very beginning. Like I said, I was probably like 4, maybe 5 when he was telling me this, and he was like, you can't tell anybody or else like I'll get taken to jail and I'll leave your mom and you guys will be alone. And he was like, and do you want that? And I said no. So I was, I stayed quiet.
Yeah.
Yep.
Kind of a threat on the whole family and the system the family system that was there in place.
Yeah. Yeah. And the first time my mom actually like walked in on him and saw him, the next morning they were sitting in the living room and I walked in and she like asked me, and I was, like I said, I think I was about 7. So like I was tiny, and she asked me, she goes, do you want me to leave him? And I was like, I was on the spot and I just looked at them both and I said no, and they were like, okay. And then I went to my room and that was the end of the discussion. That was it.
Wow.
Wow. That's a lot of it's a lot of pressure to put on a
7-year-old
kid. Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Did she ever ask that question again as you got older?
Nope. It was like, that was it. The one time.
So that was the only time she ever acknowledged it to you outside of court?
Yeah, like there was a few like small instances, like, well, I guess they're not really small, they're kind of big, but they feel small to me, I guess, in the overall, that she like brought it up. Like one time, he was putting a camera in the bathroom like every time before I went in there to take a shower, and my mom had figured it out and she told me about it, and she was like, hey, he's going into the bathroom before you go, like take a shower every day, I've noticed, can you look around? And so I did, and I found a camera, and it was actually one he had like bought me for Christmas, like that I had like asked for, so me and my sister could like make videos. And so I found it and I was livid. Like I want to say I was okay, so the house we were living in, so I had to have been like freshman year. And
I was gonna say, I think you were a freshman because I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah. So like I found it and I was so mad. I held it under the water in the shower until the screen went black, and I put it back and acted like nothing happened. And then he was livid when when I got out of the shower, and then he went in and like found it. He never said anything, but like I knew he was mad because like I just knew.
What about your siblings? What did they experience?
So my little sister was like 11, I think, when I reported it, and so she didn't really completely understand what was happening. I don't know what my mom told her or like anything. Like she understood that he was going to jail. I don't know if she really understood why. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how she really felt about it at the time. And then my older sister, she's his daughter. She's always kind of like just been on his side. Like he has lived with her when we went to court. She sat on his side. So that was pretty tough. But we like still have a relationship and we still talk, but like we're not close. And then I actually have a stepbrother that was also his son.
So the sister you live with is the little sister.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I have a step brother that's also his son. And we weren't really close, like that close when we were like, younger. He like sent like an apology, he was like, I'm sorry I didn't do anything. He like texted us an apology and he was like, I'm really sorry. Like he kind of felt responsible. It's kind of awkward with him. We've never talked about it. I don't really see him. He lives in Texas. So, but he's mad. He wants nothing. Like he has a daughter. And he's like, I will, she'll never know like about anything about him, for a long time. So as far as I know, she knows nothing about him. I don't know what she knows, to be honest. But my half brother, we don't live together. We didn't even meet until I was like 18. So he was mad, obviously, but it didn't really like affect him as much as the rest of us, I would say.
And you had mentioned that it's not a topic you and your mom talk about. So is it something that is avoided completely in your family, like all over with everybody?
Me and my sister, my little sister, will talk about it. Like, especially since she's gotten older. She's like debated on like talking to him, like meeting him, things like that, and asked me like how I felt about it. And I told her, I was like, it's your choice, it's your dad, like I understand, like you're old enough now. I just like was like, don't bring up my name or anything, like don't talk about me. That's all I ask. And then none of my other family members, we don't really talk about it a lot.
Mm-hmm. So how did it make you feel, like knowing that your mom knew and wasn't saying anything, so kind of being ignored and I mean, I don't know how did it, there's a lot of feelings wrapped up in this story that like, how did you feel when you said you were livid when you found out you were being watched in the shower, but was there an extra level of violation there that you felt even on top of the violation you'd been feeling before, or what kind of feelings were you? I curious about how you feel. I just don't know how to word it right. Yeah.
Or like okay.
with all kinds of things. I've got a lot of parts of your story. I'm just like, oh my gosh, how did that make you feel?
Ignored is an interesting word, right? Because that would almost maybe even be better than being discounted or not believed or,
right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I think her knowing is a large part of the reason why, like, I never said anything to anyone, because I was like, well, if my mom knows and isn't doing anything, like, is any other adult in my life going to do anything about it? And I like there's a lot of anger between me and my mom. Like, I think there will forever be, because she like refuses to do any therapy. Like, I've kind of forgiven her for me, like for my own sanity, but not obviously not for her. And like, she's my only parent I got left, so I do like have a relationship with her as much as I can. And like, no, but there's still a lot of anger, and I there might be for the rest of our lives. I don't know.
That's understandable. Yeah, very justifiable.
Yeah, she chooses to do nothing about it, so there's not much I can do.
So I remember when the first time you told me this story and how difficult it was for you to talk about, and
I remember.
Yeah, all of that. So I'm wondering, what have you done between then and now that's brought you to a place where you're able to talk about it and share your story so openly, and what's changed, or what have you done? Because it's obviously something you've done and worked on. So like, what steps have you taken to get to this place where you're
the healing?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been in and out of therapy for like, like I'm 25 now, so going like 11 years then, since I was like maybe 10 or 11 years now in and out of therapy. Like, I started like really consistently, like twice a week. Like, I'd go and see like my actual therapist, and then like I'd have group therapy. And then like as I got older and I was kind of like coping with things on my own, like I'd take breaks, for maybe like even like a year, and then go back for a while. I do still talk to Sam like very like regularly, like because my therapist, like I can't just like, text her when something like comes up small in life, that like it was a trigger and I wasn't aware of. So Sam's been like a good one for that. Like I'll text her and I'll be like, I didn't know this was going to bother me. Or I didn't know, like when you initially like report everything, you don't think about the future. So, there's just things in life, like for example, like my grandpa passed away last year, which was his dad. And I was terrified. Like going to the funeral, like going out to California. I didn't know if he was going to be allowed to go because I didn't want to see him. And if I did see him, I didn't know how I was going to react. If it, like, can't say it now. Fight, flight, or freeze. Like I didn't know which one I was going to do.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't want to like cause drama at my grandpa's funeral because I felt like, that would be disrespect on his part. So I like talked to my therapist about that, and my cousin who is the social worker. Like, I was like, I don't know what to do. I unfortunately ended up not going, just because I was scared. I really was, and I didn't know what was gonna happen. He ended up like his parole officer like ended up not even allowing him to go. But I didn't know that until last minute. So yeah, it's just like small things in life that still definitely do come up, but I don't know. It's not something that I'm ashamed of. So that's why I can talk about it so easily. Like, I don't know. I'll tell, I'm pretty open with people. Like when it comes to even like dating, because especially my age, like, and they like, want to be like sexual. And I'm like, like, here's my past. Like, since we're bringing about this, here's my past. So you're going to have to be slow with me and patient with me. And we're going to have to take things at my speed, and that's the end of the story. Like that, like, it's not really open for discussion.
Right. Right. And it shouldn't be. I mean, that's what consent is.
And boundary setting.
Yes.
And right. All those important.
Yeah.
I've like never, honestly, like, it's very surprising. Like I've never really had issues with like guys in the past. Like, a couple of them have just like stopped talking to me, and I'm like, well, whatever. Like if, not worth my time then. And like some guys are like, oh, like, they don't know what to say. They're like, I completely understand though. And that's fine. Like, we'll take things at your speed. You let me know if there's something that's uncomfortable and things like that. So luckily, like, there's quite a few like really nice like people out there in the world.
So I'm going to switch gears just a little bit on you and ask you how, like, as a senior, you took our reproductive health class, and I'm wondering if that class had any kind of impact on you during that time while you were going through some of this.
Yeah, I mean, like your class, like all your classes did, like almost like every day in my life. Like,
oh, thank you.
they like the little things in life. I'm like, Miss Mestis said, like, to be honest, and like. And don't be afraid to ask people if they have STDs. Like I've asked every person, and like, I don't know,
I love it.
I'm not trying to get nothing. And like every day, like even like Kyra, my little sister, she'll be like, Miss Mestis said, like, cause it's just kind of a thing in our house. Like, like every day, like little things too, like budgeting. I think I tagged you this on Facebook one time. Yeah. Like, yeah, I get like my eyes from my mom and like my nose from my dad and my budgeting skills from Miss Mestis. Yeah, and
I remember that. I'm feeling a little
just,
immortal
like, lots
here.
Of little things in life.
Yeah, I can see her ego growing. There's not enough space in this room right now.
No. I always said that's going to be my immortality. Is that the lessons budgeting I teach will get taught to.
That's the idea, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the immortality of a teacher right there.
I'm trying to think of an example. Like, I still have my reproductive development book, and like my sister was like going through a lot of boys, and so I whipped out the reproductive development book and I showed her pictures of STDs. Oh. I was like, slow it down.
Slow
or at least be safe. Like all of the above.
There you go. All of the above.
Yes.
All of the above. Did it help? That. Did it help her?
Oh yeah, I think I scarred her a little bit, but she knows now.
Well, yeah, knowing is power. That's what I learned from G.I. Joe.
Knowing is
that
power.
Knowledge is power. So, and now you know, and knowing is half the battle.
Now you know.
That's what he always said. So I know that both Betsy and I have a very specific memory from that class that involves you, and I was, part of me was pretty curious if you had any memory of that, but you probably don't, because it's a pretty.
But it had a huge
memory,
impact on me because I didn't know your history.
Mm-hmm.
So we had handed out the textbooks, and I don't even know if it was day 1, 2, 3, real early in the semester, and Mandy had asked everybody to sort of go through the book and tag all the chapters and, write down questions or, what are you thinking about each chapter? What chapter are you excited for? And we have a chapter in there on sexual abuse and coercion and that sort of thing. And it was after class, and you had gone up to Mandy's desk and you were talking. You weren't whispering, but it was quiet. And I was putting my things away across the room. And I remember you said to her, is this the story you're thinking about? You said, I don't know if I can do this chapter on sexual abuse. I don't know if I can be here for that. And you said, that's fine. And then you said, it's like Betsy followed me around and wrote down my story. And the impact,
I do actually remember this.
And the impact that had on me, and I know it see, I still get goosebumps. It's like almost brings me to tears again. And the impact that had on me was how important it is to teach this topic to our youth so they don't feel so isolated and that they're the only person. And I remember Mandy explaining to you, you're not alone. This is why she wrote this book. This is why this chapter exists, because there's so much information and data out there, unfortunately, but you're not alone. And then you said, I just don't know if I can come to class that day. And Mandy said, that's fine. But you did. You showed up that day and you stayed through the whole chapter. And I was just so impressed with your maturity and your resilience of doing that. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember we made a plan. If I was if I were uncomfortable, I remember I got up, I got really nervous, really early on, and I got up and I went and sat with Miss Mestis in the back seat, in the back row, just next to her. Just, that's where I felt comfortable. I kind of sat in the front, so I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
I knew nobody knew, but it felt like in a way everybody was looking at me like everybody knew, but I knew they weren't, so I had to go sit in the back, and I stayed the whole time. I wanted to I really did want to hear it all, and hear I don't know, from I just wanted to know. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I remember that it was yesterday. I mean, for me, because it was so.
It was powerful for both of us.
Yeah, it's very moving.
Yeah, it's one of the stories that we share, obviously without using names or whatever, but it's one of the stories we share every time we talk about our pilot classes and how important those classes are and why we need these classes and that textbook in schools and stuff. It's, we have a small handful of stories, but that is definitely one of them because it was such a big moment.
I feel special.
You should, Jessica. You are special.
And I had the first written copy of your mom's book because you printed it out for me so I could read it.
Yeah, you had the manuscript is what you had.
Yeah,
that's privilege.
Yeah. Yeah, we just had her on a few weeks ago. Her episode just aired a couple weeks ago, I guess. But yeah, she just shared her story as well. So let's hear about what lessons you have learned from your past that will help you improve your own future and maybe even the future of other people.
It's a big question.
It is.
Unfortunately, I've learned you always gotta you gotta take care of yourself. Sometimes there's no one else that will take care of you, so you gotta you just gotta do it sometimes. And I've always looked out for my little sister too, and she was always in the back of my mind. you know, like I got to do this for her. You know, I'm not going to leave her behind if, you know, I move on, like going to college, like out of state. Cause that was my original plan. I was like, I'm getting so far away from here. And like, and it's honestly like, I wish that like everybody in a way had like my brain. Cause like, it's really nothing to be ashamed about. Like, I don't know. It's just not like there's so many people that have been through it. Like it's 1 in 4, I want to say, like 1 in every 4 women has been abused in their life. And in a way, like Sam asked me like yesterday, because I told her, I was like, I'm doing a podcast with Miss Mestis tomorrow, and she was like, what are they hoping to learn from it? And I was like, you know, that's a good question. I was like, I think they just like really just want my story out there. And for me, like a large part of the reason why I brought it up is so like at the very least, like I don't know, maybe somebody will hear my story and they are like, you know, once again, like I'm not alone. Like, I mean, I know therapists say that all day, every day, but you know, maybe there'll be someone my age and they're like, okay, like, you know, I feel a little bit better. Or, you know, even maybe there'll be someone that listens to it and they haven't reported their abuse yet, and then they will. Or yeah, hopefully like it just impacts somebody. And like, I don't know. I just want to be like open about it. And I don't know. I just like I said, I wish everybody could just not be ashamed of it, and not be ashamed about like a lot of things in life. Like like what you'd said, like, you know, ask people if they're clean. like just from the class in general, like, and you know, it's not wrong to ask, like
do you have an STD?
Yeah.
Do you know?
I just want to know.
Do you know? Yes.
Do you know?
Like, because like I need to know.
Yeah, you do. And I maintain. I literally just used that line in my class yesterday, because yesterday was my STIs class day, and you know, talked about you've got to ask you, and if they don't know, talk to them about where they can go get tested, because there's plenty of places. So.
Yep. Knowledge is power.
All right. How about a lighthearted question? What are you binge watching right now on Netflix, or whatever you binge watch on?
Amazon Prime.
So, when the pandemic started, I started Grey's Anatomy. And now every time there's a new episode out, me and my sister are watching it. Like we're behind a couple weeks, so after this, that's probably what we're gonna watch. I also got into The Circle on Netflix really big. I just finished the 2nd season last night.
Okay. I've heard of that one, but I haven't watched it. It's like a reality show, social media thing, right?
Yeah, there's a movie about something like that, right?
That's The Social Dilemma.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, so I didn't think I was going to get into it, but it was really good.
Okay. Grey's Anatomy and The Circle.
Well, let me tell you, if you started watching Grey's Anatomy from the beginning, you had a lot of episodes to watch.
I started watching Grey's Anatomy about 3 years ago.
Oh,
because and I'm still in season 16. I'm refusing to watch the whole thing because I don't want to get to the point where it's week to week. So I just.
Well, we've been watching Grey's Anatomy from the beginning, like timely.
That's what my mom
and then
has
we
been
kept
doing.
hoping it would just end, and the season needs to, the series needs to end. And finally, Bill is like, "Do you want to keep watching this?" And I go, "I don't." Like at some point, we just had to break up with Grey's Anatomy. We just had to be like, I've been through thick and thin with these people, and just end it already. Okay?
And they've almost all died every time.
And I need closure.
This is the last season 17. This is the last one.
Are you sure? Because they keep saying that, and then they change their minds. Like, well, maybe
no,
one more.
I really think it is. Like, if you started watching season 17, like it's on Hulu, like
you can see the ending coming.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's at least motivation enough for me to get back and finish watching season 16.
Oh yeah, no, we were watching multiple episodes a night. We were up till like 2 a.m. watching Grey's Anatomy. It was bad.
Yeah. And the best part about watching that show, binge watching, is that suddenly you're like some kind of medical expert at the end of it. You can like talk medicine and like I know what that is.
Well, it's kind of like when, maybe I shouldn't use this example, but when people talk about porn teaching young people how to have sex, I always told my students, if that were true, I could be a surgeon, because
if you could learn how to,
because I didn't watch Grey's Anatomy to become a doctor. So, and then they're like, oh, good point. Yeah. Cause it's not real.
But you could surgicize somebody, right, Jess?
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. Like I could give somebody a brand new heart. Like I'm Christina Young. I know it.
That's what I'm saying.
Know what I'm saying?
All right. My last question is, if you had one piece of advice for a young person who might be struggling with the same thing, what would you tell them?
You've got to, like, for you, like, if for no one else, like, if for you, like, you have to, like, report your abuse. You have to, like, go through it's really hard work, like going through therapy and sitting in front of a stranger, like in the very beginning, and telling your whole story, every single detail, with a camera watching you. Like you have to do it. In the end though, like it's worth it, because here I am, like I'm really open about it. I'm on a podcast and I kind of brought this idea up, and I was like, if you want to ask me questions, that's fine with me. Yeah, you did. So like it's really, really hard work, and it's not easy. Like even, like I said, like as you're going on in life, like you're going to run into something and you didn't know it was going to be an issue, but you've got to do it for at least yourself.
And is it easier to go through all that hard work than to suffer the abuse?
100%.
Yeah.
Great question.
Oh, yeah.
Great answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I would never, ever go back. Nothing in the world. Like, yeah.
And I knew that would be your answer.
Yeah. I don't even know if I'd say I'd change anything.
Think you'll ever write a book?
I don't know. I don't think I'm the best writer. I mean, I can when I have my moments, but I don't know if I could write a whole book. I could do like a TED Talk.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, there you go. Would you like to do that?
Let's get you on a TED
maybe.
Talk. Well, that's very cool.
Yeah, I feel like I could talk about it way more than I could write about it.
Well, Jess, it's been great having you on. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, and thanks too for the offer of having being a guest. I appreciate it a whole bunch, and it's been really good seeing you and catching up.
Yeah, I agree.
And somebody out there is going to listen to this and say, I guess I need to make a call.
Yep.
And I need to get out of this situation.
Or I need to stop hating myself, or I need to stop whatever, right?
Yep.
Good job.
Very nice. Thank you so much.
Yeah, literally anytime.
Okay, good. It's really nice to see her now, all these years later, after having her in class. You had her way more in class than I did, but even that one semester I had her team teaching with you, it's just really quite remarkable what she has done, and seeing her and having her tell her story and just be so in a different place.
She seems so much healthier now.
Oh, for sure.
Me. Just in so many ways.
Yes, she tells her story. It's part of her story, but it's not, it's just steady, just solid, I guess. I don't know what the feeling is.
I think solid is a good description. Yeah. I remember her in high school, and solid would not have described her in any way, shape, or form. And
rightfully so.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see it in her face and her demeanor and every part of her, how much she's changed. And that's really cool.
But this part that was always the underlying part of her was taking care of others. And I think that's still there for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
Maybe not to the expense of her feelings, but definitely, and I found it impressive that she tries to have a relationship with her mother.
Yeah. I would maybe struggle with that a little bit, but yeah, kudos to
I think I'd struggle with it a lot. Yeah. So you're a bigger person than I am.
Well, and I like that she said she was able to forgive her mom for her.
Yeah, that's important.
And that I don't think she'd probably be able to have that relationship with her mom had she not.
Yeah, your mom did that too.
Yeah. It's a big, important step to healing.
It is. Yeah, they always say anger consumes the vessel that carries it.
Yes, they do.
But yeah, it was fun. And I am going to follow through on that TEDx thing. I am going to submit her name. Nice. Sometimes it depends on what their theme is for that year, so whether or not it fits or whatever, but definitely probably a story they'd want to hear.
I'm sure it is. Well, I'm going to follow up with watching the 16th season of Grey's Anatomy, so.
Oh, the butler did it.
It always is the butler.
Oh, spoiler alert. This podcast was created to promote Look Both Ways and the textbook written by me, Dr. Cairo. Look Both Ways is a nonprofit organization based in Loveland, Colorado, with a mission to educate our youth about their reproductive health to make informed decisions for their future. We do this by educating the educator through professional development, and we also put on free conferences for both teens and parents of teens. Textbooks used in schools are donated by Look Both Ways to eliminate the money obstacle for schools interested in piloting or adopting our curriculum and textbook. As a nonprofit, we are always fundraising and accepting donations. For more information about Look Both Ways, our fundraising efforts, getting a textbook donated to you, or make a donation, please visit us at lookbothways.us. That's lookbothways.us. This podcast was produced by Peach Islander Productions in Fort Collins, Colorado. This is Dr. B.
And I'm Mandy Johnson, wishing you well. Be sure and catch all of our episodes of It's Not Human Sexuality on Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you get your podcasts.
What's Pit Bean? Pit Bean.
Why don't you start again with, this is Dr. P.
Oh, jeez.